Welcome to our final episode of Timbersled vs. Yeti 2017. This is our throwdown where we make final decisions and summarize everything we figured out this year.
Yeah.
And before we get started, we want to say both of these bikes and track kits, they're amazing. They're both great. What we're talking about here are tiny little differences that we noticed after comparing two identical bikes for an entire season.
We're splitting hairs.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's start by talking about the bikes, and this is the control feature of our experiment.
Yeah.
They're identical.
We're mad scientists. We did take identical 2017 Husqvarna FC 450s. We mated one with the limited edition Timbersled long track, and we mated the other with the limited edition Yeti long track.
And they have all the same parts except for one has a different seat and one has a riser on it. But that's minor cluttering of things. So let's start by talking about on the trail. So on the trail, when you're going from the truck up to the riding area, a couple of differences.
The necessary evil, as we call it.
Right. We don't necessarily love that part of the ride, but it's part of it. So first thing, ski.
The ski. And we do have to give the edge to Yeti on this one. With the ski, we found it really confidence inspiring on the trail. Even if it was icy, chopped up, gross, it didn't really matter what the conditions were. The ski was planted. You knew what it was going to do.
Right, and the next point is that little switch on the side of the Yeti that activates the rear suspension, so there's a lot more travel. When things are whooped out, you can cruise along on that, and it's much nicer to ride. And finally, if we were to race or come around corners and want to smash the gas, the Yeti does spool up more quickly. There's a chain drive on the Timbersled, a belt drive on the Yeti, and the belt drive is more efficient. You get that power from the power plant right back to the track, like now, and you're gone.
Go time.
On the trail,
got to go for the Yeti.
we're going with the Yeti.
So for video 2 of this season and the next section of this wrap up, we're going to talk a little bit about Carve and Marvin. Now you won't shut up about Carve and Marvin and how much you love to carve.
I'm a former skier. I love getting that feeling. So
tell the boys what you think.
All right. So for me, carving is when you get into a more of an opening, no trees, relatively flat. You can go fast. You can lay the bike really hard over, and then get into a good sequence, ideally where you're railing it hard. Mm-hmm. So I find that the Timbersled, we had lots of crashes earlier in the year. We did get our ski a little bit better figured out by the end of the year, but it's still way more fun carving on the Yeti. It's a combination of that ski and then also being able to have more power going to the track due to that belt drive. Mm-hmm. You're pushing a higher gear or you're just higher up in the same gear, but you can just go faster. Yeah. And that's a lot of fun. So when it comes to carving, this is probably the area where I'd say there's the biggest difference between the two bikes. Mm-hmm. I think Yeti really rips when it comes to carving.
Up next, we're going to talk a little bit about deep powder, one of our favorites, of course. And we're talking about going up in it, riding flat in it, and then riding down in the deep white stuff.
Sure. So what do you think about the ski in those three different types of conditions?
The ski, heading up, if you're climbing, there's really no difference because all of the weight's on the track. You're basically wheeling this thing all the way up the hill. If the ski's touching, it's intermittent. On the flat, I think that it's safe to say that the Yeti still takes a bit of an edge overall when it comes to turning in the deep stuff. We did notice quite a difference going downhill. And that's where the Yeti, it really does pick up a notch. If you're coming down and you go to turn to go back up, the Yeti hooks up and it points in the direction you want it to. There's no hesitation. And that's something that we fought with all season on the Timbersled. It got better at the end of the year, but it's still there. A slight hesitation sometimes. And sometimes you don't have time for hesitation.
Sure. And it's not just when you're going down and turning to go back uphill, but that's a good point. But just ripping around big trees. Yeah. I'm talking about when you're going on significantly steep stuff.
Yeah.
And you just have that confidence in the Yeti. I feel scared in the Timbersled, to tell you the truth, going down really steep stuff. I don't want to turn. I just want to go straight and get down and then come up where I would have more fun.
Yeah.
So the other thing about deep snow, Timbersled versus Yeti, would be that power and the spool up. We keep hitting this, but that's a fundamental design difference. The Timbersled has chain drive and the Yeti has that belt drive. It's more efficient. We're pushing a higher gear. We're going faster. It's almost like you have a big bore on your bike.
And the Yeti's lighter, and I think that adds to it too.
True, so that applies to when you flop over in the snow, get stuck in the snow.
These are all things I'm really good at.
Pick your ass up.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, if you're crashing or falling off or doing whatever, picking the Yeti up at the end of the day is a lot nicer than picking up the Timbersled.
Well, snowbiking is a tiring sport, and usually we start heading home when we get tired. So it's all about fatigue management. If you can have a good day, not get stuck for one, and then when you do get stuck, get unstuck efficiently.
Yeah.
It makes a difference. It adds up.
Well, I'm going to be really stuck there.
I knew that was going to happen.
So for us, it's safe to say that riding in the trees is what it's all about when you're on a snow bike.
Yeah.
And one of the most important things is not hitting trees. And that all comes down to the ski and handling. Oh yeah, hitting trees is something you do fairly well. But what about the skis?
You know what? And we touched on it briefly in the deep powder segment, but it does come down to that ski reacting and doing what you ask it to do when you ask it to do it, without any hesitation, without any pause. And we got the Timbersled ski. We improved it significantly over the course of the season, but it just isn't at the same point. The Yeti, if you come around a corner and you need to crack the gas, you want the ski to carve that corner when you want it to.
Not to kind of push for a moment
and then
grab.
hook up and go. Yeah.
So in the trees, the Yeti is a lot more fun to ride, in my opinion, because it's confidence inspiring. Plus, I'm going faster because the ski's behaving the way it should, and also that belt drive. I have more power. I'm going faster. Bigger grin on my face.
So let's talk a little bit about buying these things. What's it cost to get yourself into a Timbersled or a Yeti? And when we picked them up, they're identical kits as far as trim level. They come with a ski, third shock, and the track kit. Timbersled, $10,000 Canadian. Yeti, $12,500. So we got a difference of $2,500 to play with there, which is significant for sure. Important to note though, with the Yeti, when you buy one, you get a wheel kit, and it's something we hadn't had in the past, and we used it a lot.
We didn't think we would.
Yeah,
it's
awesome.
It's super handy to have a wheel kit. So then, if you end up buying a wheel kit for your Timbersled, it's going to cost you $500.
Yep.
So really, that difference is $2,000.
Yeah.
So a little bit closer. And I was talking with Jamie yesterday from Yeti. So Jamie feels that in the next couple of years, as their volume goes up, that they're going to get within $500 of the Timbersled kits, and that will be really interesting to see what happens. There. Let's talk about maintenance. So you can buy the thing, and you can ride it. They both use the same amount of gas, roughly. But what breaks or what broke down? So we had our brake pads wore out after 6 rides on the Yeti. So they need to be replaced. And it was quite a tedious replacement process. It takes about an hour to do that. So it's kind of unacceptable. It comes down to the brake rotor having not been heat treated properly. So it ate through the pads. Now, Yeti has fixed that for 2018. Plus, they're giving all of us 2017 owners a brand new rotor and new set of pads. So we can have that all taken care of very quickly. And they re-engineered the way that everything's set up so that for next year, changing those brake pads is a 5-minute job. And that's a huge improvement. What else did we go through?
Ski.
We busted a ski. Yeti ski broke right near the front on both sides. It's not terribly uncommon, apparently. We've heard of some other people who have broken them. Yeti went back to the manufacturer of the ski. They said, yep, we blew it. New skis for everybody if they break them, and it's fixed for 2018 and moving forward as well. So that's kind of a non-issue. The Skegs. We wore out the Skegs on the Yeti.
$170.
$170 to buy new ones and a half hour to install. Yeah. So I'm not sure why. They're just different metals. Yeah. We rode in exactly the same places. Yep. So the Skegs wore out.
Helga, the Timbersled farm girl, what did she cost us?
Nothing.
Not a dime.
Not a dime. The only thing I can say is that we lost a couple of paddles. And that's probably from some impact events that happened. User error. So it's unfortunate when you have to spend maintenance money, but it's all been taken care of. We've been given some free stuff. It's just the Skegs really that we're out of pocket for. Yep. So that's it for that one.
So let's wrap this thing up. Before we get into the meat and potatoes of the wrap up, we do want to point out we have already snow checked our 2018 kits. They're coming, and we are excited to do another season of filming for you guys next year. The manufacturers have come out with some pretty cool upgrades.
Well, Timbersled's a new platform.
Brand new platform.
Narrower, lighter, different.
Yeah.
And Yeti's made a bunch of changes too, but they're all little tiny things here and there.
So we're looking forward to another season of filming with you next year.
We are. And let's wrap things up with saying, go to our website if you like, vernonsnowmx.com. Lots of videos, articles, and other goodies from us, but also some of the, like Ian at Rider's Edge has a bunch of articles on there. If you're thinking about big bore versus turbo, all that kind of stuff, lots of great articles. Go check it out, vernonsnowmx.com. The last thing I'll point out is the snowbikeshop.com.
Yeah.
This was their first year in operation, did quite well. They have a bunch of parts that are snowbike specific, and next year there's going to be a whole bunch of new stuff. So and articles coming out from them. The whole website's going to be further improved. So looking forward to seeing all that.
So we have to give a thumbs up here, a final.
Oh, the final. Well, I think we basically said we prefer the Yeti in almost every regard. The only thing I'd say that at times we might fear, are we going to break this thing because it's so sleek, nice little Porsche, carbon fiber, but we haven't broken it, and I don't think we've come close. So it's been a great year of filming. We give the edge to Yeti. Still love the Timbersled.
Have a great summer, folks, and we'll see you next winter.
Thanks, everyone.